Hello, welcome back, energy experimenters. If you're new to the channel, I'm Adhpa. I do explorations, philosophical explorations of human energy dynamics. It's my concept and belief that we as humans have numerous faculties, including emotional, mental, physical, and energy. And we really don't pay much attention to those energy faculties or understand it, but it is a necessary component of fully functioning as a human. And we know this because we have things like dreams and visions and experiences related to energy that assist us and help us, but are not part of what we would think of as our normal faculties. In fact, we usually dismiss those faculties. But I suggest that they're integral to our full agency. And in order to achieve that, we have to understand these energy faculties. So it's my experience from years of working with this philosophy that intuition and so forth is very much tied into that. And we can use various tools to help us identify, tap into, get the subconscious information out of that intuition using various things like tarot cards. And so that's what I do. I do it for fun and to explore this philosophy. So what I'm doing currently in the series is pulling a card from the Sacred Path cards by Jamie Sands, and then I do a reading on it. This week I'm going to use, because it's Halloween season, L'Étrange Noël de Monsieur Jacques, which is obviously the French version of the Disney. And then I'm going to use for clarifiers, just for fun, the star codes, Astro, Heather, Roan, Robinson, to see what they have to say to clarify. So, all right, I'm going to shuffle up the cards from the Sacred Path and pull a card here, and then I'll bring you down for the full pull on this. But just to pull a concept card. All right, so, and I'm going to think of what's the energy for the week ahead. What would be a useful energy to focus on and get a reading on to assist with the highest good for the collective. Let's say that. Let's say in order to achieve the highest good for the earth field, earth life field collective. Okay, that's enough shuffling. Let me see what I get here. Now see me, I'm just seeing if one pops. We get one pop out. Oh, I got one pop into the side. We'll take that. Rites of passage, change. Rites of passage, change. Yeah. So, we have points in our life that we reach that are change points, adolescence to adulthood, toddlerhood into childhood, adulthood into maturity, maturity into elder status and elder age, and then of course the transition when we drop our robes and cross the veil. And all of these things are change, and often things are marked by certain rites of passage. These still carry on today in terms of proms and communions or confirmations. In traditional ways, there are numerous rites of passage to honor the differences between women who go into menses and young men who develop into physical strength in their adolescence and so forth. So there are various ongoing rituals that people use to mark change. So we're going to do a reading to see how a rite of passage for change might be useful for us in the week ahead and what the card means. All right, so hold on and I'll bring you down. Okay, well, we decided to have Manxie do a photo bomb. What do you think, Manxie? I'm going to do a reading with the cards. And while he decides whether or not he's going to move, I will do another shuffle up. I have shuffled. So when I'm shuffling and looking for intuition to affect the cards, I usually have, not much in my mind at all. My mind is just clear to let the question run through and the energy run through to the cards to the best of my ability. I'm getting playful, Manxie, today. Yes. Anyway, so let me shuffle these up and see if we get one that pops. While Manxie plays with the cards. Give us a little Halloween treat here. He's such a good boy. Yes. So some of you may know I call this the Manx Sanctuary. And unfortunately, we recently lost Tombo. He was much older when he came here than we had realized, and he had a dental event. Broke a bad tooth on a treat, which he loved his treats, and he just really couldn't recover after that surgery. It was too hard on him because he was so old. But he did cross in my arms and has a beautiful space. We did it under vet care. And anyway, so here we are. Okay, we're ready, Manxie? Ready to draw a card on change and rites of passage. Oh, one came up right away. Look at that. All right. And now, ow! You're being bad. Don't do that. And now the oracle cards for a little clarification. Here, I'll give you this. I gave him his catnip toy. Now he'll leave me alone for a few minutes. All right, clarifiers. Rites of passage, change. Oh, I was going to jump right out, didn't I? All right, let's see what we get. Start out with the signifier. Le roi d'Aïe. That's the King of Swords. This is the thinker. He is the director of external thinking. Change. How does that relate to rites of passage? Well, this is about directing the rites of passage. This indicates that we are each the directors of our rites of passage, as it were. And that's clarified by the sun source. This is when we talk about the human energy dynamic and where that energy for the life field comes from. It's a combination of things. It's the earth, it's the water, it's the sky, it's the moon balancing us. It's the solar system, solar family, but the source of the energy in the solar system is the sun. And the same for the galaxy, the galactic center. So I think what this is saying is that regarding change, rites of passage, we have the ability to direct the thinking, the rituals, using the, source energy, tapping into that energy as part of these rites of passage and and adapting to change, as individuals and as a species. And the challenge for us is Le Grand Priestess, the high priestess. She is, she guards the doorway, or she guards the curtain to the path that you choose, right? So when you go through the magician, he sort of lets you pick a door to go in, and then you meet the high priestess, and then she can reveal certain things, and certain things are not revealed. And so it's a challenge to us in this regard when it comes to rituals, is that there's like a hidden effect when we do them. There's part of it we may not understand how it functions or works, and part that we do. And this is clarified by Pisces, the fish. Sensitize is the meaning of this. So we're very sensitive, or we're challenged by being sensitive to the things seen and unseen. That's how I'd read that. What we have control over at the base of the deck, Le Chevalier de Bougie. That is the Knight of Wands. This is that taking passionate actions. These are the passionate actions. So we have control over how we bring our passion into these rituals to do them. And as that is clarified by Midheaven Pinnacle. I'd say that this is saying we have some control over how high an intention we put those passions into it. So when we're dealing with change and ritual, this is talking about how much are we having our actions be for, a higher goal, for a higher purpose, seeking a higher purpose. What we've come through, Le Valet de Bougie. This is the Page of Wands. So recently, this is about leading up to change, like what happens before the change. This is about, there are indications. You get inklings, like when you're going through puberty, you get little hints before you get into the full changes. And that's true with most change. There are hints. If we know what to look for in it, and it affects emotional. There are emotional hints, and that's clarified by opposition and confrontation. So I think what that's saying is often, before we go through a change, we are sort of pushed to it. There's a resistance, a confrontation, a problem that comes up, and then we have to change. And so this is also saying that these rituals can address that. They can close the contention and move it to something new. What we cannot control in this regard is the Trois de Potions, the Three of Cups. And this, this is about, we cannot control how the energies come together. There can be a synergy of energies. That's something we can't control. So when we're doing these rituals, that's part of what's the unseen stuff, that we may not understand who or what energies we're bringing in. That's why it's important to understand that and go in with highest intention, because we cannot control when the energies will come together, how they'll come together. And that is clarified by Saturn structure. Yeah, we cannot, when it will take form. So when we go through these changes and we're sort of pushed to it and then we have to adapt, you know, it can take time then for the structure to build from that, a new structure. And we can't really control that. We have to go with what's required in the moment. What that leads to intentionally is the set de potion, 7 of cups. And that, you know, is the range of possibilities. So this can lead you in all kinds of ways and open up possibilities, but of course that also includes things that might not be good. So it could be poor choices, could be good choices. As clarified by Gemini, cross-pollinate. Yeah, so it's like it opens up possibilities that had been closed before, maybe shows new ways to use the things that are existing, and requires certain choices that might not be grounded yet in enough knowledge to be known if they're good choices. Like it's up in the air whether or not it was the right choice. How we see ourselves in relationship to this. Le Magician, and there we were talking about that. We are really the ones that have to choose the door and can open the door, and through rituals and in adapting to change, it allows us to remake ourselves, open new doors, maybe get new names, change our being up. These changes allow us to choose a new path, open the way to a new path. And that's as clarified by Uranus change. Yeah. I love how the cards will give us just, you know, the answers that we're looking for. I'll move everything over here so we can get the rest of the cross in. Okay, so the environment in which we sit, l'Hierophant, the Hierophant. So we have the Magician, number 1, and then we have number 5, the Hierophant. This is like a four difference. This is a sacred, like there is sacredness around how we address change and ritual. And we choose the door, and then in the world it is directed by, you know, earth, spirit energy on earth. So we cast the spell, if you will, or we say the incantation, the magic words, and then it is amplified out into the field by spirit itself, something more than us. You know, this is the representative of God on earth. There's, like, in that energy, it takes hold. And that is clarified by Mars motion. Yeah, so it moves from that. Hopes and fears about understanding change and using ritual. Les amoureux, the lovers. You know, will we, because people change, and in that change they may leave something behind. They may lose what they had before the change, and that's always concerning to people. It also can bring people together in new ways, though. It can create a new sacred agreement, and that is clarified by Sagittarius expand. Yeah, I think people are afraid both of expansion and not expanding, losing and gaining, and not losing and not gaining. So I think that's what that's talking about. Outcome of change, rites of passage, le jugement. You know, that final stage before you attain the world. It exposes things. It resurrects good things. It awakens knowledge and understanding that needs to be awakened to achieve the final goals. And that is clarified by Aries, act. Yeah. So, what this is telling me is that the rituals help us deal with all the aspects of change, prepare the way for us to be able to act with a higher knowledge and wisdom in a way that helps move us towards our goals. Bottom of the deck, the Rites, 8 of potions. The 8 of cups is that it's about change. It's about leaving behind some energy and going to new energy, like moving from the 8, moving on towards the 9. And again, we have that almost completion. This is about rituals of change, rites of passage, and change is about helping us move on to the next stage of empowerment. And that's clarified by trine sextile, symbiosis. Symbiosis, in order for the life field to flourish and be, in some sense, eternal, it has to change. It has to continually be alive and growing. There's a symbiosis of change and life that can't be taken apart. It's a necessary requirement. And the same with these rites of passage. There's a symbiosis of the rite with the change. And how does that apply to the week ahead? Well, first of all, hit the like button, leave me a comment about what you think this is, and then I'll bring you up and we'll talk about how this might relate to us for the coming week. Oh, rites of passage. Rites of passage. So, I tend to think that for this week ahead, there is some rite of passage. And maybe it's just going into autumn. Maybe it's the rite of passage of the annual harvest. That's entirely possible. As we go into the next week, we'll be hitting the full moon at the end of it. And even though people have said last month was the harvest moon, yet there is coming yet in October, early October, as the weather patterns are here, still a harvest going on here. So is it a rite of passage into the next season for the earth? Could be. And what kinds of things do we do for that to mark that passage? You might change up your decorations, put up your Halloween stuff and lights, something. It's an energy shift. You create an energy shift. So whatever the rite is that you want to engage in this week, remember that this is an exploration of energy. What you invest it with, the energy you bring to it, is going to affect the outcome. I suggest that if you bring an intention of highest good and love into those things, when you do them, they express in their function in a more beautiful way for you and for the little world around you, and that may affect the bigger world. So that's just my theory. Let me know what you think. Otherwise, Maxie and I will be back. Would you like to see him? We'll be back next week. He's hung out for this whole one. Have a great week, everybody. Love you.